ultimately ended up in the ER, which led to a diagnosis of Crohn's disease, which was just completely life-changing. You just need to go on this medication and you're just going to have to live with this. I didn't really accept that. And neither did my wife. I'd been on the prescription drug with the diagnosis for about, I want to say, 4 years. My brain fog was terrible and I wasn't feeling like myself. Some family issues popped up just because it's like, who is this guy? I didn't know if I could do it. I kind of thought that maybe I'd have to be retired. That was a real fear, but it's not anymore. They said that I'm in full clinical remission. I've never seen any recovery like this. It's just great. So I just feel like I have my complete and total life back. Hey, sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing
I'm
very
doing
well.
very well. How are you, Jake? I'm doing great.
Thank you very much for jumping on.
Yeah, happy to.
Yeah, yeah, I really appreciate it. I've heard great things in your progression and journey.
Yeah, they've been fantastic, completely life changing. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk to you and hopefully, my story can help others or whatever. It's been such
Yeah,
a blessing to me, my family, my kids. It's just been amazing.
awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much. It is these stories that really help us get the word out on, the protocols that are working and helping to reverse these conditions and improve lives. So really, really appreciate it. So yeah, we can just dive straight in if you like.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. So yeah, my first question would be, would you mind sharing a little bit about sort of what initially led you to join the program, maybe a little bit about your background and sort of when you started noticing progression of your illness and how it showed up and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always felt like I had been in great health, but about 5 years ago, things just weren't going great. I was low energy, just not feeling well, started having some real bad like stomach issues, and ultimately ended up in the ER, which led to a diagnosis of Crohn's disease, which was just completely life changing. It's kind of out of the blue for me. And of course, I had asked my traditional doctor, my GI specialist, well, with this being a GI issue, is there anything that I can do with my diet to help it out? And he was like, no, absolutely not. You just need to go on this medication and you're just going to have to live with this. And I
Hmm.
was like, really? Diet doesn't have it? Like, there's nothing I can do? And of course, I didn't really accept that. And neither did my wife. We just had, been around long enough to think, a GI issue that can't be helped with what we're eating. It just didn't make sense. But I wasn't in a position at the time to really do any research or anything like that. And so I just did. I just plugged into the, traditional medicine, was taking the biologic drug, which I wasn't thrilled about, but seemed to be working, right? Got me back on my feet, allowed me to continue in my career. I work as a pilot. And so losing my medical was a really detrimental big thing. But I got healthy enough, I guess, or was, following what the doctor said, but my brain fog was terrible and just I was on the decline. My mood swings were really bad. I was putting on a lot of weight, which is kind of opposite of what, a lot of people who are diagnosed with Crohn's have a problem keeping weight on. So I was like, well, maybe that's just because everything's working. I don't know. And I just kind of checked out mentally and just kind of continued on status quo. But I was having such brain fog and memory issues, and I just wasn't myself. I wasn't feeling like myself. Some family issues popped up just because it's like, who is this guy? This doesn't seem like dad. And, as a husband, I just wasn't feeling like I was performing well. And my wife started doing some research, thankfully. And
Over what period of time is this, Jake? Is that how long ago was it that you got that diagnosis, and then sort of how long did you go on the prescription drugs for?
Yeah. So I'd been on the prescription drug with the diagnosis for about, I want to say, 4 years. So it was a good period of time,
Yep.
4.5 years,
Yep.
before my wife really started looking into what can we do here? How are we going to find it? Fight this, and how are we going to get me back to a healthy state? Um, um, and thankfully, she had some. And I'm forgetting her name right now. Was it Malia?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it would just slip for a minute.
yeah.
Thankfully, Malia is a daughter of an old time family friend of ours, and she was on vacation up here in Alaska. Came up to see the sights for the summer with her family, and stopped by our home and actually had a conversation with my wife about her experience. And at the time, I was laid up. I was sick from Crohn's. I had broken my leg, so it was not a great summer for me. I was just convalescing and just wondering how I was going to dig myself out of this pit.
Yeah.
And anyway, I really wasn't in a mindset to talk. Malia, they were out seeing the sights and stuff. So I didn't really hear very much at all of what she was saying, but my wife did. And when my wife came back, she's like, you really need to get on a call with her and see if this is something that is going to work for you. She's like, I just feel really differently about this. It's sound and it resonated on a deep, deep level. And my wife had done a lot of personal development over the years. I had done a lot of personal development over the years as well. Through my wife was involved with a multi-level marketing company, and that kind of went hand in hand with the personal development, building a big business. She grew a big business and was ultimately coaching a lot of women on her team so that they too could have success in their businesses. So personal development was not unknown to me, and I had participated in a lot of it for the previous probably 8 to 10 years. Um, and so I knew that when things resonated and sounded good, that, I should pay a little bit more attention. So anyway, I did jump on a call with Malia, had a discussion with her, and found out that this program wasn't just about healing your gut through food. It was healing your entire life through personal development, food, changes, how all of that comes together and can actually, grow to be a bigger focus point. So I'm so grateful in retrospect that I'd done all that work in personal development years leading up to this, because after my meeting with her and I was able to hear from her what my wife had heard over the summer, it just resonated. And I knew that I had found something very special, and that if I applied myself, that it could work for me as well.
Mm, mm,
And I don't know, I just knew. I knew that this was the time, and so I went ahead, signed up for the course, and just started doing it. And I was 100% committed. Like I was like, you know what? I'm investing in this. I want change. I want my life back. I want my brain back. I want to inspire my kids. I want to do all these things, right? Because it was a decline, from where I had been at my peak. And so I went ahead and started. I had great support from my family, but that didn't mean that we went through and threw everything away in our pantry, because I didn't want them to have to, sacrifice, so to speak, for the things that I was going to be doing. And it was kind of funny, through the beginning of that, there was a lot of apologizing. Oh, sorry, I'm going to eat this. I'm like, no, 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 don't. This is not about you. This is about me. And these are the changes I want to make for myself and my health. And it was such a fun, natural transition. And what I found as I got into the program, that it really wasn't difficult for me to stay on, because I had previously, like a lot of the mindset, vision, all that kind of stuff, I had already kind of conquered that before, and I
mm,
just had to add this piece in. So it went really, really well for me, and kind of was a very natural, easy thing for me to do.
mm. Amazing to have that support from your family by the sounds of it, just encouraging you. And um, So it sounds like you got that initial diagnosis, and then for 4 years there, you were, going to normal medical treatment. I was the same. I got handed a big box of steroids and an even bigger booklet of side effects that would come with that when I got diagnosed with lupus. And, I had a little bit more experience probably back then. I actually decided not to go on the down the medical route, but I did try many, many, many different things until coming across what we teach. How long was it until you started to sort of see improvements when you started the program?
I would say almost immediately for me. Like I
Mm.
just really felt all around better. But I would say by probably the third week, I was like, there is noticeable difference. The weight started just coming off really rapidly for me. Um,
Were you
which
working at that time, Jake?
was I working?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
uh-huh. Yep, I'm a member of the military. I'm in the Air Force, and I was able to go to work and do all the things. And I even told my coworkers, and they noticed my rapid weight loss as well. And they're like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing this diet that's helping me out with my Crohn's disease." And of course, we got talking about it, and people were just super interested and fascinated with all the changes because they could see the change physically, but they could also see my energy level was better.
Mm.
My ability to focus and concentrate was better. Inspired a lot of people to take note of their own health and try and do some changes for themselves as well. It was really really neat to see.
And so, if you were to think back on that sort of progression of the timeline from when you started the program, maybe a couple of milestones that you noticed along the way, maybe some bigger milestones, to the end, what was sort of the duration where you're like, actually, I feel good enough to depart from the program, and yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was like really 90 days. I felt like, 90 days and man, everything changed, turned upside down, inside out. Um, so it was very rapid for me in that regard. And then as far as like maintenance, I've been able to really stay, I wouldn't say 100% on it, but because I feel like a lot of the issues with my gut were healed. Like before there were certain foods that I would put in my mouth that would erode the lining of my mouth. Like I could not eat pineapple, I couldn't eat chocolate, I couldn't eat nuts, all that stuff. And within the 90 days, I found myself, enjoying that stuff again on a small scale. Like there's like a couple of days that I'll indulge and then I'll go right back to the plan because I feel so much better when I'm on it and
Mm,
honoring it. And I know that there's still healing going on in my gut.
yeah.
Um, so I had very rapid results. I would say a few of the milestones that I hit was initially, after the first week, it felt like I was, having to go to the restroom all of the time, like every, a couple of times an hour. And I'm sure that was just all the inflammation and water retention just leaving my body. And
Hmm.
so I knew within the first week and a half that there were some big changes going on because I wasn't so puffy and bloated all the time. And I had had that experience of just, eliminating all that water. And then, probably the next thing that I really noticed was obviously the weight loss that was just coming off. It seemed like every day it was a pound and a half or something that was just melting away.
Mm.
And then where I really noticed the cognitive stuff clearing up and having much clearer mind was my ability to sit down and actually watch a movie with my family and track the plot line and what was going on.
Oh,
And I
wow. Yeah.
really struggled. I had noticed that I had been struggling with movies and things like that because I couldn't really follow what was going on. I had too much brain fog there.
Mm.
And usually when I would, if my wife and I would lay in bed to watch a movie or something like that, it was kind of a running joke that I would always fall asleep before the movie would end. And I think part of that was that I had such difficulty concentrating on the plot line that it was but I was also physically exhausted all of the time and wasn't getting rested like I needed. And about 2.5 months in, I started staying awake for entire movies. And sometimes I'd be like, hey, let's watch another one or something, just
Yeah.
because it was so refreshing to
Mm.
be able to have entertainment again that I could enjoy.
Mm.
And then another thing that was really cool was just waking up in the morning and feeling like I had a good night's sleep.
Mm.
So many times I'd go to bed and I'd wake up and it was just like this exhaustion that I just felt like I didn't get enough sleep,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
so that's one of my favorite things now is waking up in the morning and feeling like, oh, I want to get out of bed now because I feel rested.
Yeah. So it's a feeling well rested, and you wake up with zest for life again. Hey.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's just been absolutely mind-boggling and mind-changing. And one of my biggest fears, and my this was actually one of my wife's biggest fears, was I'm retiring from the military next month, and um, I am going to work as a pilot for American Airlines. And I was seriously concerned about my ability to go through another rigorous training program, learning to fly another
Mm.
airplane, and not only that, but like the inherent responsibility with flying passengers in an airliner like that. I didn't know if I could do it,
Yeah.
and now that I've gone through this program and have experienced the healing and the clarity and all of that, I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm so excited again because I don't have any fear at all about going and learning a new aircraft at all. Like
Yeah.
I'm just blown away. And my wife, she almost came to tears. Oh, I don't know, a couple of months ago when we had some very vulnerable conversations, and she was like, I was really worried about you. I didn't know if we needed to get you tested for like early onset Alzheimer's or what, but she's like, it's
Mm.
so good to have my husband back. And I was like, yeah, babe, I don't think we ever talked about this, but I was really worried about my ability to perform after I retire from the military and actually go back to work. I kind of thought that maybe I'd have to be retired.
Mm.
And that was a real fear, but it's not anymore. And so I just feel
Yeah.
like I have my complete and total life back.
Amazing. Has
Yeah.
it, have you noticed any other sort of effects in your family life? Because, it's the individual has this transformation, but often within the family unit, it can be quite, transformational as well in terms of connections and sometimes conversations and kids and, all that stuff.
Absolutely. So I have 4 kids total. Only one of them is left at home. The other 3 are grown and gone. They all have families of their own now. And um, they, they're in their from age 30 on down, but they had kind of fallen into some practices and mindset and, health habits that were not great. And we all got together as a family about 2.5, 3 months ago, and they were able to see my transformation in person, and they were just like, each of them were super inspired. And so all of them have set physical fitness goals. All of them have lost weight, increased muscle, metabolism, all of that stuff, and they've all incorporated mindset because they too understand and see how important the mindset portion of this was for me. And so, yeah, it's just incredible for them. And all of them have improved, each of them.
No,
So,
it's amazing. It's amazing the ripple effect that one individual can have when they come across the right information, and then also, have the courage and the fortitude and the focus and, um, the willpower to implement. Because it's not always easy to implement. I think a lot of people find it difficult sometimes to implement some of these things, but when you can have those together and if somebody can witness that individual go through that transformation, I think it's has this amazing ripple effect, not only through your family, but then as your family does that, other people are going to be inspired by that. And that's really the thing that helps make the change. It just starts with that one individual.
yeah, the amount of conversations that this opened up at work alone has just been mind-boggling. In fact, I sent another guy that I know who has Crohn's disease. He was so interested. I'm sure he looked into the program. I don't know if he ever signed up because he retired a couple of months ago, so I've lost contact with him. But he was just blown away by the change that he saw in me. And
Mm,
his ultimate goal is to stay off of biologic medication for treatment. And so
yeah,
he was super interested in it. And I think he may be involved in the program. I'm not sure, but
great. Yeah,
the conversations that it just opens up and the awareness, yeah, it's amazing how many people struggle with different things.
yeah,
And when you find the key for your own journey, how inspirational and helpful that can be to them. It was
yeah,
great.
yeah. Have you, out of curiosity, and not that it matters because, the primary is how you're feeling and the energy, but have you had any follow-up tests or anything like that since being in the program?
So yeah, I did have another medical colonoscopy and where they went in and looked recently and they said that I'm in full clinical remission, that whatever I have done or was doing has just been incredibly helpful, and to continue doing what I was doing. So
Did you get the
um
A1C bloods through, or did?
oh, the A1C, this was great. So my GI doc actually called me personally on the phone. He's like, "Hey, I just got your labs back." And he's like, he goes, "Are you on a cholesterol drug?" And I was like, "No." And he said, I've never seen cholesterol numbers like this except for maybe once or twice with extremely high endurance athletes." He said, "Your numbers are so good. I'm boggled. It boggles my mind that you're not on some sort of a medication for that." And I'm like, "Nope, perfectly healthy." He's like, "Well, whatever that diet is that you're doing, keep on doing it. It's great. Everything looks super, and I've never seen any recovery like this. It's just great." I'm like, "Cool,
Wow.
yeah, very
Amazing.
happy."
Yeah, I wonder if that will go through and influence his, learnings in the future if he learns a little bit more about these methods. Well, that's phenomenal. That's so it's amazing to get, not only somebody's you can feel the energy and you feel the shift personally, but I think, for other people looking into the program or looking into learning more about this, just to hear about the transformation and have it there in the tests, and it's, you can't deny that. Yeah,
Not at all. Yeah, I'm so grateful that Malia showed up at our house and had that convo with my wife. It's
yeah.
just life changing.
Did you have any moments of doubt going through the program, or were you just sort of head down, regimented?
I was so head down regimented. I went into my full committal, full military mindset of
Yeah,
like, dude,
yeah,
I am doing this. I am not gonna look back. I'm not gonna cheat, so to speak, on the diet.
yeah,
I just want to do this.
yeah,
And it worked so great. So yeah, it's really funny. I didn't really have any struggles in
yeah.
that regard.
I think
I
you
guess
have.
the one struggle that I had, and this was I was working with them, was getting the broth down. Like I couldn't get as much broth down as they wanted me to, and so I just reverted to just eating straight meat. Kind of like if I was in an emergency situation or whatever. But, it all did work out for me. So.
Yeah. How did you find the support in the program when you were sort of going through those times and you had
Oh,
questions and things like that?
fantastic. Yeah, I never had an issue getting on with the nutritionist or anything. It was very good, and yeah, I was able to attend some of the meetings, and I found those to be good, very mindset focused, and it cracked me. It made me laugh sometimes because some of the guys that I would show up and I'm like, they're still having the same problem, but they haven't changed what they're doing. So how can they
Mm,
expect something to change if they're not changed? And so a couple of the guys would frustrate me because I'm like, man, like, what if you're doing the program, do it, either do it or
mm,
don't. but
Yeah.
some of those meetings were kind of funny in that regard. And I was like, okay, I got to be calm here because I realized that, all of that personal development that I had done in the past really did show up for me in a
Yeah.
big, big sort of way. And that
Yeah.
did allow me 100%, like no cheating, like I did it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's
um,
amazing. It's the mindset stuff is so important, and the reason we have such a focus on it is just exactly that. I mean, obviously, you've done a lot of development onto yourself with yourself, and to give yourself the ability to be able to commit to something like that and just be focused on it, and you know you're going to get the result, and it comes so fast. And some people really struggle with the mindset stuff, and it's sort of, as you were talking about, really a foundation, in
mhm.
terms of like how you're operating in the world, and it helps you develop new habits that are beneficial for you. And a lot of people, I think, get stuck in habits that are not beneficial for them, and cycles of thinking that are negative and are not supportive of themselves. And so they sort of can fall off. And I think that's one of the most important things in the program, is to be able to pick people up when they fall off, and it's okay. Dust yourself off and get back in there. And some people take longer than others, but if they stick with it, they get better. It's phenomenal, the rate of people that will get better. It's like it's 100%. If you do it,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. It's if you do it, you're going to get better. So
Yeah.
if you have a big enough why in your life, then that's all you need. And
I
if you fall a
wholeheartedly
few
agree.
times, get back on, and you can still get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And I think that's it. My why was, do I want to be, like honestly, fat, sick, in bed? Is this the rest of my life? I didn't want that at all. I still feel
Yeah,
like I have a lot of years left in me. I'm 53 years old. I want to live till I'm, 80 or longer even, but I don't want to live feeling worn out,
yeah,
tired, run down, brain fog, can't stay awake for a movie, can't follow a plot line. That was no quality of life. But
yeah.
I feel so rejuvenated now and
Mm.
have such a fresh outlook on, the last third of my life as I'm moving into that realm of being,
Yeah,
full of health, vitality, and strength, and all
yeah.
of those things.
It's so empowering as well. Like I feel for myself over the last probably, I would say even 10 years, I've just seen an improvement consistently in my health, from age 30 to 40. And so I'm 41 now. And, some of my people around me are saying, oh, I'm getting old, or like starting to use some of that language. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I feel younger and more
Just
energy.
getting started. Yeah.
I'm just getting started. It's like a new lease on life. And I think the most amazing thing in obtaining this knowledge is just knowing what it looks like to stay healthy. And these things like dementia and cancer and heart disease, the three sort of big killers, if you stick with this protocol and you understand what's going on in the gut, and you understand what's going on in the mind, how the mind works with the gut and all that sort of stuff, you can avoid all of this stuff. These are new conditions that have, you look at the charts and they all just go up like this over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Once you have this knowledge, then you understand why that happened and how to avoid it. And so living into a healthy 80, 90, into 100 is very achievable with cognitive and with a functional body. If you look after your body and keep the muscle there, then there's no reason you can't just live, into a ripe old age.
Yeah, for sure. I love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jake. I really, really appreciate you sharing your story. Do you have any words of encouragement or any thoughts that you'd like to share with anybody that may be considering the program going down this road?
Yeah, it's worth it. And is it hard? Yeah. But when you look back on life, and you're sitting around the kitchen table talking with your family, you don't talk about the easy times. You always revert back to the times that were hard and difficult, because
Mm,
those are the times that you relish the most, and that's when you learn the most. And so if you find something that's challenging or challenges you and is difficult, it will be worth it. And it will be the thing that is discussed in 10 years from now as you're sitting around the dinner table going, gee, wasn't that fun? And wasn't that life changing when, dad decided to do the program and change his life? in 10 years, we're not going to talk about, oh, do you remember that Thanksgiving where we sat down and ate all of the candies and jellies and pies? Do you remember that, pumpkin pie? Wasn't that delicious? It's not what we talk about. But we will talk about the hard things. We'll talk about supporting each other as family members to get through those hard things.
Yeah.
And as we do that and we work together and as we work as individuals, the juice really is worth the squeeze. And so, yeah, I'd highly encourage anybody to do it.
Mm. Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's those. I think for myself, with friendships or family or my partner, it's always the hardest things that help create more vulnerability in somebody and help you have those deeper conversations and help develop those deeper connections as well. And so, choosing the hard thing, you know, at the time might feel difficult, but if you can just commit to that and just know that there's going to be such a flourishing on the other side, and you'll come out stronger and you'll have deeper connections, and the ripple effects from those things, those decisions, and those commitments, it's just huge. It really can turn your life around.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you, Jake. We can finish it there. I really appreciate you sharing your story. Anything else that you'd like to share with me at all, or?
No, it's been just a real honor to be able to sit down and chat with you. I appreciate it. I'm so grateful for all of the support personnel that were involved through your company and what they did and what they were willing to do. Just made it easy, for
Mm.
me. And I'm just really appreciative. So is my family. It changed our lives. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm glad that you came across Malia. She's been very impactful in many people's lives in our program. I think most of the people have come across Malia, and just seen that story of transformation. And I'm sure people will come across your story as well, and you'll be the catalyst to help change many other lives as well. So I really, really appreciate that. I'm curious, how long have you been in the army for, and what do you fly in the army?
Yeah, so I came in 1999, and most of my experience is in C-130s. I have flown KC-135s as well, and also
What type of plane is that?
KC-135 is an air refueler. It's like
Oh, wow.
yeah. So our job was to refuel both heavy and fighter assets.
Wow.
And the C-130, I was involved with combat search and rescue. So we would go escort helicopters and refuel the helicopters as they would go back in to look for like a down fighter pilot or somebody that got into trouble behind, the behind enemy lines, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did transfer to the Coast Guard during my career for about 5 years, and then came back to the Air Force. And for about the past, 10, 12 years, I've been flying drones, the MQ-1 and the
Oh,
MQ-9.
really?
Hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it's been a great career. I've been able to do so much and travel all over the world, seen things. I've been involved in search and rescue. I've been involved in, combat weapons employments, uh, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, all kinds of cool stuff. So
Yeah.
I am grateful for, all of the experiences I've had with that, but I am looking forward to hanging that up and going and, doing something different. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, best of luck with your new career trajectory. And yeah, thank you once again. Really, really appreciate you. And yeah, if you ever come across anybody that might be a fit, feel free to send them our way. We would love to, guide them along the path. But yeah, all the best to you and your family. And yeah, wish you the best for the future.
absolutely. Thanks, Scott.
All right. Thanks, Jake. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.